Are there anything in the small cap list that we, of the 100,000 that could be bonded?
Yeah, I have that. Actually, had that list together and wanted to look at it. I don't necessarily recall the details of the school department request, but we had $12,200 for town buildings, small capital, $3,100 for public works, small capital. There was an amount for fire department, which was turnout gear and some valves for some of their vehicles. None of them struck me as being items that you necessarily would want to borrow for, but I'll go back to them and take a look at. Don't want to push too much on the issue, but if there are items here that the board feels the priority should be different, certainly we'll go back and retweak this list. It really is your proposal that I'd like to bring forward and work on versus something that I may feel is important, but you feel otherwise.
Well, the one that I'd like to see moved up, and it's not a very big one, and is the fire station bunk room. That living quarters needs some freshening up. And, I mean, it's probably hasn't been done the time the building was open. And you know, when I went up there and looked at it, I mean, it just to me. Keeps getting put off, and I think something needs to be done there. I would question the on the DPW septic system, before we just jump off and do anything about that. I'm wondering if there's a way of doing, assuming that we're going to go forward with a wastewater plan in the next, get it started in the next, let's say, 2 or 3 years. I'm wondering if there's some minor repairs that can be done to hold off. The emergency lighting, I think, is probably something we're obligated to deal with. I guess on the cemetery, the question would be, do we need to spend that money this year? Or do we have enough spare real estate in the current area? You know, can we afford to hold it off? Okay. Because that might change some other things that we do.
See, to me, there's a priority 5, the exterior of the library and the sills. That wouldn't be a 5. I mean, that's a capital, it's a facility that we have that needs right in the center of town. We spent considerable money on rehabbing a few years back, and we need to maintain it. You know, I mean, again, just driving through town, when you have the third meeting house, you've got the Flint Memorial Library. Those facilities should look good. We should maintain them. We should keep them up. We should paint them before they start peeling on us. You know, but you know, again, we have the same thing with the old library there, the Damon Tavern. You know, which doesn't look very good. We can't let our public facilities deteriorate. We have an obligation to maintain them, first of all, because it's part of our stewardship. But secondly, it's very much a part of the appearance of the community as people drive through, and even taking pride in your own community as the people who live there. So I think we have we've been criticized before, and we've caught up to some degree in relation to maintaining our facilities. But we start falling behind again, and I realize that we're talking about services being delivered and people's jobs. To be honest with you, when money gets tight, but the facilities are here. We have to maintain them. We have to keep them up, and for that to be a priority 5, I guess I have to disagree.
Well, the other thing, Steve, is I don't know whether the, town administrator's $650,000 cutoff for bonding, right, is the right number. That's why I wanna look at,
Right.
what we can leverage and actually see what our reserve would be based on some level of spending or bonding. So I think we need that information before we make any final decision, but let's say that we can afford to bond $1 million. That might change some things on the list. Yes.
Could I be a pain in the neck and back us up a little bit? Unless I missed it, I don't remember us talking about the police department unmarked cruiser, the space study for the fire department. We spoke about the bathrooms, but not the middle school field renovation.
Right. You're right, we skipped
Because
it.
I
their
think what happened
articles-
was,
because their
I think what happened was
articles-
Dr. Trouton, and then we went to the next page, I think is what happened.
Separate articles.
The middle school field renovation, was a proposal that was put forth as a warrant article by the Recreation Commission. And I don't have specific details on the intentions that they wish to undertake. So it was difficult for me to put it in the plan, but I also don't feel that it should be, even though they've requested it, I feel as though it should be part of the capital plan.
Right.
And not stand on its own as a warrant article.
Yeah, that's been proposed for a number of years, and the figure's gone from 150 to 175, now to $200,000. And in our meeting the other day, the superintendent left, the school department did not want to be included. Originally, they were talking about jointly recreation and school department sponsoring the article. The school department, the school committee specifically voted not to be included on the article because when it comes to prioritization of things, it didn't rise to that level at this particular point in time.
In fact, I think it's right where it belongs, the bottom of the list.
Oh, I'm not talking about the priority, I'm talking about we didn't talk about.
Oh.
Right.
That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
sure.
No, but something interesting, we look at this though, and you see, to me, bathrooms down at the park, at Ipswich River Park for $110,000, I'd rather spend the money up and just get this other field up and ready for use. I know it's $200,000, but still, that's a field that's, first of all, in deplorable condition. The kids do play on it. I mean, there's like JV soccer plays there sometimes, and JV baseball. No, actually, JV baseball had to be moved up to the Hood School field because the conditions of this field were so poor. But it's a vast field area which could be utilized, and we don't have enough field space to begin with.
Yeah.
And before we start building bathrooms, I just assume, plant some grass, put some loam down, plant some grass, and take care of some drainage or something first, so give them a place to work. But again, that's just my own feeling in relation to prioritizing things. It still doesn't rise to a 1 or 2.
Right.
But,
And another question on the fire department space study, should we do any work in the building before we do that study? I'm just saying, I'm not opposed to
the
doing
bunk room's pretty bad.
Well, I'm not opposed to doing the bunk room.
Right.
That's all we're talking about here.
It's rough.
Yeah,
But I'd hate to do something and have the study say tear it all out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think most of what you're talking about is
Is paint and
is
cleanup.
Oh, okay,
paint,
okay.
cleanup, and then buying some petitions and
Yeah,
probably some
yeah.
new beds and things of that nature.
Yeah, okay.
New furnishings and petitions.
It's not
It's not a structural.
And
relatively
then,
small item.
and then the police department, unmarked cruiser would be going,
I don't know, we bought some motorcycles, so.
it's gonna get cold.
Well, it's okay.
we didn't
I
actually
heard they
buy
were
them.
gonna run
We
it
didn't
12 months a
actually buy
year.
them.
Once a year, that's what I heard, they're gonna run.
My only thought was, there was a police vehicle that was purchased in the spring. We bought
We
one.
pulled one off, didn't we?
We bought one in the spring, in April.
Yep.
And we also bought one last fall. And during that same period of time, we purchased no other municipal vehicles, so my feeling was that we probably could pull off.
But that was a catch-up move too. I mean, because we had,
Right, it
yeah,
was.
we started to get onto another maintenance program as far as replacing these vehicles before we start spending a lot of money on maintaining the ones that we have.
I'd like to see an inventory of all the vehicles that the police department has under their control.
And then,
We haven't.
Well, this,
do we have a new SUV, by the way? In the police department? And I haven't seen it, but someone else
I've seen it.
mentioned it to me. That we-
They
that we have a four-wheel drive SUV.
yes, we do.
We do.
Basic, it's magic.
There were two vehicles that were in the 2008 budget that were approved for the police department.
Was one an SUV? I honestly don't recall.
I don't know.
No, but we have one.
I don't recall, but I do know that they had a certain amount of money that they had to work within for a vehicle, and I don't know.
But usually when we authorize for the purchase of things, it's for a new
It's
cruiser.
No, it's
Yeah,
a new cruiser.
A new cruiser, but, and I recall discussion about an SUV. I don't know that we agreed upon it or not.
Is there a grant in that?
I don't know, but even if there's a grant
Matching grant.
involved, it's another
Go
situation
back to
where,
the whole-
you know, and I may have honestly forgotten, but.
You may know more than you.
It's, the hour is, 9:30, we still have, warrant articles to go through.
But can we just
Take
get,
a short break?
can we just find out about the
Absolutely,
vehicles
we'll find out.
and James looking for an
And I
inventory?
do have an inventory of all town departments today.
I'd like to see that like that.
Yeah.
This particular.
Would help make decisions on something priorities.
This particular unmarked cruiser they're requesting, is this replacement or an addition to the fleet?
Usually they rotate them through where the other unmarked goes down
Seems
the
like we
line,
did
and
an
it goes to
unmarked
special
cruiser
services,
not
then
too
it goes-
long ago.
Then it goes to the dog officer.
It would not be a net gain in the fleet, they would bump down. They would bump the vehicle down,
To
and
a,
we have not brought any of those vehicles on board in the municipal departments. So when the police declares a vehicle as surplus, our position has been trade it, get rid of it. We don't want another additional vehicle. Nor do we want it at town. That'll get you that first.
Any other, things related to capital? I don't know if you got.
I just,
yeah.
I would like to see some information on the DPW septic system as to what can be done to repair that. In terms of the library, number 27 and 28, I think it's worthwhile to look into those library trust funds to see if that can be funded in that sort of way.
On our meeting on the 15th, right?
Correct.
Monday off, this is Tuesday. The Financial Advisory Committee is making a presentation to the
Yes.
board? Okay. I just wanted to verify that was still on, because I didn't get to the meeting the other night.
It is.
Joe would like to take a
Take
5-minute
a
break.
short break, please.